So having made that decision to accept the position, we had to find schools for the children, and that's obviously the big change. We didn't have any roots in Bendigo, we're coming to a new community, and so for us it was a case of trying to find a school that would meet all the needs of the two kids. So Sarah was already at a Lutheran primary school. Andrew had been through the Lutheran primary school in Horsham, and we had really enjoyed that experience of the Christian education which we'd wanted for our kids. And so when we came over here, Sarah had found Victory on the internet, because my education is very important, Dad, and she was very keen to come here. And for Andrew, it was a case of, he'd expressed to us, I just want to go to a school where I feel safe. And for Gail and I, that was a really big issue that we needed to resolve for him. We didn't want to bring him into a new community with no friends and so forth, and him feeling unsafe. So we came to the school, we had a look at it. Sarah was very keen, Andy was in two minds, but ultimately we enrolled the two kids here. Sarah settled really quickly because it was just so similar to the school she'd been at, so that was never going to be an issue for her. For Andy, 15 years of age, all those issues that teenagers have, left all his friends behind, and the first 2 weeks, I've got to say, were almost pure hell. He'd never behaved in this way before, and it was just a real concern for us that we'd uprooted him and made that change. So we talked to Anne-Marie, the principal, and just expressed our concerns, and we said, look, Andy's just having some difficulty settling, and the support they gave him and the people they put around him were just fantastic. And within 2 weeks, he had just settled, and school was cool. All of a sudden, it was a great place to be. And that was helped by Cody, the young chaplain, and then just some activities that he got involved in. For us, we've really noticed the kids blossom in terms of the opportunities that they've had here. Because it is a smaller school, everybody has the opportunity to participate in things. And a really good example was the What If opera that the secondary kids did. In a bigger school, say at South East College, for example, there would be 150, 200 students apply for something like that, whereas here at Victory, every child in that year group of year 9 and 10 could participate in the What If opera. And Andy's a guitarist and likes to do a bit of acting, so he loved it, and it was just really, that was his settling in period that helped him settle. It's the caring and nurturing environment that we've always appreciated about a Christian education. But it's not just the Christian aspect of it, it's the fact that there's just those values that you don't necessarily get in the government system. And the one-on-one that the teachers give the students. The teachers here know the students. You don't roll up for parent-teacher night and they don't scratch their heads and say, whose parent are you? Which child's yours, and so forth. They know the students, they know the parents. And I think that's a really important part of our children being educated. It is, and it's not just important for us as parents, but it's important for the kids. I find that if you have that relationship with their teachers, then that rubs off in terms of how the children interact with the teachers as well. So I found that really good here, but we'd found the same thing at the Lutheran primary school. So it's just that it's a bit smaller, a lot more personal, and there's just that quality of education across the board. And as I said, the opportunities and the role models that the staff here provide. You get somebody like Brady Herman, who plays football and so forth, and Andrew just looks up at Brady and says, wow, yeah, there's a great role model for me to follow in my life. And and I think that's really important, that our kids do see people who are role models going forward, because that's what they'll model themselves on. Both our children have a great advantage in that both Gail and I are university educated. Gail's actually a maths science teacher by profession, so Andy's had that benefit. But they get that all-round education, so he's just finished his science exam, he's done his English exam, and he's really excelled in English, and that's something he struggled in his early years at primary school. And since he's come here to Victory, his first day he had, what's her name, the American lady? Julie, that's it, Julie Lovell. Julie whipped him off from reception when we brought them here for their first day at the beginning of second term, and I'll look after him. And he came home and he said, I love English. He said, Mrs. Lovell is just such a great English teacher. She makes it really interesting. And Andrew's found that he's stepped up into some leadership roles, which he's always tended to do that, and be a bit of a leader. But here he's got greater opportunities and he's really enjoying and just growing through that process. I've watched my son grow in the past 3 terms from somebody who wasn't too sure about the change to a young man who's really self-assured about where he's going. And I put that down to just the support and everything he's received here at school. The academic support here has been terrific, and there's certainly an emphasis on that, but there's been an emphasis on other things which just really, as I say, probably suits Andrew more to a T, because he's not one who wants to be a great academic. He would prefer to follow, he wants to be a chef, so in many ways the sooner Andrew leaves school the better in his view, but we've made it pretty clear to him that we think he needs to complete year 12 and then follow through. So he's getting the balance here, he's getting those extracurricular activities, particularly in the music and so forth. So with when they have chapel and so forth here, he's leading on the guitar and things like that, which is just up his alley. But at the same time, he's getting that academic education that he needs, and so all the 3 R's are being dealt with, the science has been dealt with, the maths has been dealt with, and so forth. So the transition was, at the end of the day, really easy. I mean, 2 weeks of our lives were a little traumatic as far as Andrew was concerned. Once he'd settled down, that transition has just been fantastic. And we're now at a point where Andrew says to us, Mum and Dad, I feel sorry for my friends back in Horsham. He just loves it here at Victory. Sarah loves it. She settled really well. And Victory has been just a great inspiration for us as parents, and it certainly has been inspiring for our children.